It's time to talk about the new Baby Metal album. It is their fifth album. Is anyone on this panel going to disagree?
No.
No, no, it's the
But
fifth
it's
album.
it's
I
called
don't
Metal
give a crap
Fourth, no
what
you.
lore
Just
reason they try to
I have
spin.
all the previous albums right here. You can look at all the albums. What is it if not an album?
and our viewership just halved.
Yeah.
Right, so let's talk about the fifth album, Metal Fourth. Which know you, but kind of I like the idea moving forth into the future, which is how I take that title and how it's spelled. But this has been an album that a lot of people talked about leading up to. I felt that was the way as well with the other one, but obviously for very different reasons. So coming back post hiatus as that was, this is a case of like well, moving forth, and we got a lot to talk about. So who wants to kick this one off?
Well, how do you want to approach this? Do you want to go like
How
song
do
by
we
song,
dissect?
or do you
All
want to
right, all
just
right,
have our
okay.
general
So
opinions?
don't worry, don't worry. Dad will give the children their assignment. Okay, so well, let's start with what I think is probably the easiest way of looking about this. Did you overall feel like this was an album that was better than you expected, in line with what you expected, or came in below what you expected?
Personally, I thought it was better than I expected. I honestly came in looking at this, looking at all the collabs a little bit. I was thinking, kind of too many collabs, or I kind of knew too much. Which in a little bit, I still kind of feel that way. But as I listened to the album as a whole, I generally really liked it, and I could say now, even after only a couple of listens, that I think it's a lot better than the other one and
Ooh,
Metal Galaxy. So I'm very happy with this one.
Well,
the other one, of course,
apparently
being
we have our own album rankings
yeah.
because I would not agree with that.
We were just going to say that's a discussion for another time. I know the other one is Benedict's personal favorite. So, but then
I
again,
would
that's just
say
because there's
it's
more
better
time for
than
Moa on
Metal
it.
Galaxy simply for the reason that I do really enjoy every single track on this album. I don't think there's a real dud in there. I mean, I know we will
Okay.
probably talk more about Kawaii.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's obviously, it's hard to really get a feel for this album. We talked about it a lot before on this channel because or like, if you heard Sunset Kiss, like Neon did, over half of the album was
Sorry,
already
I just feel like I've had
known.
like Neon's hand in my face for a second there. Right,
Sorry.
carry on. I just feel like someone
Yeah.
reached out and touched my face. It was very unusual. Anyway,
Reach
carry
out
on.
and touch your face.
And that's actually one question I wanted to ask you guys. How did you feel about that we had like four tracks that we know at the beginning of the album? Do you think that's a good way to approach it? Because
I
for
think
me
it was
personally,
arguably
if I
five,
can,
wasn't it?
yeah, but Metally comes later.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, so you mean like the actual track list
yeah,
kicking
yeah,
off with four
exactly.
tracks from you?
That's
Sorry,
what I'm
sorry.
talking about. Because for me personally, I thought, doing my reaction, my initial listen to it, I thought it was cool getting it out of the way first and then getting to the more interesting new stuff, and having that more uninterrupted. But, on repeat listens, I'm thinking sometimes I'm feeling like I want to get to the second half a little bit faster because I already heard these first four tracks so often. So, what's your opinion on that?
I think that this is a conversation that we've kind of had a few times. And I remember, obviously, this came up a lot with Epic Narratives by Bandmade, where like the first half of the album had largely been kind of like
Yeah, true.
we kind of knew it in advance. And I think that I guess you've almost got three phases. You've got that initial phase, like you say, where you have your very first system through, where you can kind of go, all right, well, at least they're all there at the beginning, with exception to Metali. At least it's like I can say they're there, and you expect the opening of most albums to be where the singles are. So in a way, it's like, well, at least
Do
the
you?
singles
So,
are there.
do you really?
Usually, like with most albums, I think like the big hitting singles are at the beginning of the playlist. And so you're kind of like, okay, I get those out the way, and then I get into, as you say, the interesting second half of the album where I get to hear the new stuff. That's cool. And I think if you come back to this album in a year or two, as I often say, and listen back to it, you won't think about it like that anymore. You just hear it as a
Yeah.
list of songs. But I feel
That's
like
why I said
now
it's like hard to really
you're
grasp this album right now.
you're in that transitional phase where you're like, okay, well now I have to listen to the whole. I can't just
Yeah.
rush to the end. I actually have to now listen to it as all as an album. But at least for now, there is that separation between some songs still having recency bias and novelty, and some not. But again, I think you just got to wait till all of them settle in until every
Yeah.
single song is well burnt into your brain and you won't care anymore.
But it's an interesting experience because, for example, the other one for me, it kind of flashed me more when I first listened to it. This was, I'm not sure. It's, that I have to look at it more objectively, I think, because of the fact that I knew all of these songs. And I think really every track individually is a great track in itself.
Well, I'm surprised how well the album does actually, with a couple of little momentary
Yeah,
exceptions, possibly. I'm surprised how well it does actually flow as an album. I feel like it's still crafted like an album. I still feel like it moves like an album.
but I
Obviously,
feel that
we've
really
got this
deserves
many.
credit because also every
Yeah.
track really kind of sounds like the group that this incorporated, at least all the collabs.
Yeah. Well, again, I
But
didn't
there's still
know.
that through line.
Yes, I didn't really know, and I could argue with a lot of these artists. I still don't really know enough about the collaborators separately to really speak on that in too much detail. But I would say that it feels like each one you go through has its own little flavor, but it's not like, oh, whoa, wait. It's kind of like it
Yeah.
flows fairly. I would say probably the only exception is, and I think this is more of an interesting one, is jumping straight from Sunset Kiss into My Queen, which is kind of like, so, hey, this is like a summary song until going straight into what is quite possibly the most evil sounding song on the entire album. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's such a jarring twist.
Possibly
It
ever.
feels intentional. Yeah, that feels like super intentional because sometimes you can have an album flows well, but sometimes the cool thing to do mid-album is to have like a sudden jarring switch because it kind of like wakes you up. You're in the last half of the album. It's like, whoa, were you paying attention? Bam, now you are.
Yeah.
It's like, so
I
in a
was
way,
actually
that almost
surprised
feels
to
intentional.
hear you speak so positively about that song because, damn, that shit is nasty.
Oh, so have you seen my?
I have
We've
seen
all put
your,
out our
yeah,
reactions. Okay,
yes.
okay, we'll put out our reactions. Um, I will say that when it comes to My Queen, it's interesting because for me, I really respected that. Even though it's like a really dark, evil song, and as I said at the time, I'm not super sure when I'm in the mood to. I would listen to something that sounds evil as shit. But the thing is that I really respected that it lent into that, and it wasn't sort of like being poser, like, ooh, I'm gonna be sort of like, ooh, dark and depressing. It was like it actually did sound genuinely quite unnerving. And I was like, that's really
Yes.
cool. Like soundscaping was there, like the little bit in the bridge was there where you got like this sort of weird chorused vocals and then the screams and everything. And it's just kind of like got this jarring, unnerving feeling. To me, it felt like it was kind of really interesting and genuinely creepy. And I
Yeah.
thought that
I'm not
was
sure.
cool.
Is anyone of us, Neon, are you familiar with Spirit Box?
Yeah. I've
Good
I've done
questions.
loads of reactions
So
to a lot of
could
Spirit Box.
you tell us, does that feel like a Spirit Box vibe
Yeah.
or?
I actually said in my reaction that I feel like there wasn't enough Spirit Box actually.
Oh,
I actually thought that the bit that she had, I know that the band and all that's
but
playing,
would
but
you say that darkness
Oh.
comes from Spirit Box?
yeah, I'm really like glad they went to like the sort of instead of like Spirit Box trying to match Baby Metal's light, shall we say. I'm glad that it was
Hmm.
the other way around. I mean, we got Baby Metal that kind of led into that more kind of like dark Spirit Box vibe. I think the reason why this song really works well is because, like Howard says, it has that genuine, uneasy feeling about it, and it does that while without trying to be edgy, without trying to be hard, and I think that's why that gets away with it. But yeah, I mean, from the Spirit Box point of view, I enjoyed what was there. I could have done a little bit more, honestly, but that's just me being greedy.
All right.
It's interesting that you mentioned that they did the instrumental because, of course, that was an area where I think a lot of people who weren't familiar with Spirit Box, such as myself, were not able to really work that out on first listen of, okay, is this Baby Metal's usual
But
theme or is it
I think all the
collaborative instrumental?
collaborations have the instrumentation done by the original, by the featured artist.
I I think so. I mean, I know, like, I know I get a little bit of flack for saying this. I've said before that unfortunately, like, a lot of metal bands use very similar sounding guitars, so it can sometimes be a little bit hard to pick them apart. Yeah, so when I say metal bands, I mean in this kind of metal space. And so, it wasn't the easiest thing to really tell from that, but I was really interested to hear when like people who knew Spirit Box were in the comments and they were like, yeah, no, that sounds like the instrumental sounds like a Spirit Box.
Yeah.
And that for me was intriguing 'cause it meant I was getting a taste of the band, but it was clearly fitting in so well that it didn't feel, didn't feel like jarring. Again, that kind of worked really well. That was great. I do owe, going one track back, I do owe a
Yes.
slight
Give it to me.
I have a slight air of apology to
Praise
Bolivia.
Bolivia.
Hey, that
Do
was
it.
some good karage, man. That was some good karage I had. Yeah, so I was, just for anyone who doesn't know, anyone who's new to this channel, when I was at Fox Fest, I was at the whole of Fox Fest. I had to pick a moment to go out and get food. I was hungry. I went to get myself some karage, some good quality Japanese
While
chicken.
Bolivia was
I
on
did it.
stage.
I did it during the Polyphia set, and I have never lived that down. I've got to be honest. Although they did come on stage later with Babe Metal, so it's not like I didn't see them at all. But I will be honest. I thought that was a really cool song. I said at the time, I think that was one of those songs where, on first listen, it might not necessarily blow your mind, but I think after you've been listening to the album for a year, I think that's one of those songs that will go from being a mid one to one of the ones that you're really happy to hear over and over again because it's just
Yeah.
got so much detail. It's just such a good melody song with so much detail. I think it's going to keep on coming around. You never. I think you're going to get bored of that one.
Yeah. I have to say I'm really, really super happy about that song. Probably one of my favorites, if not, might even be my favorite track of the album. And maybe some context, I was a Polyphia fan even before being a Baby Metal fan.
He
So
really was. He really
yes.
was. He really,
And
really
we
was.
had a collab before. We had Brand New Day, and to me, this song "Sunset Kiss" is how a collaboration with Polyphia should sound. That has all the intrigue of Polyphia, and I felt Brand New Day. I listened to it again. It's not a bad track. It's a good track, but I just feel it's like kind of the case of like Bandmate, the Warning collab, where it just didn't bring out the best of any of the groups.
It was a safe one, Brand New Day. I think I can get that now because I mean, when I heard Brand New Day before, I've always liked Brand New Day, but it is one of those ones where when someone tells you it's a collab, you kind of go, I guess so. Yeah, guess it does sound a bit different, but it doesn't like go, wow, okay,
Yeah, and
this
there's
is
actually
really
a lot
doing
of
something
empty
different.
space in the song, which I feel could have been filled by exactly that Polyphia intrigueness that we got in Sunset Kiss.
Oh, okay, yeah. It is weird though, because again, you can hear a lot of the same signature things as those sort of like the little
Yeah, I
quick
feel like
moments of
even the
flourish, little
first
stop
three notes
starts.
that I feel that's kind of
Yeah,
borrowed from
da,
Brand New
da,
Day or
da,
from
da.
from
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah. It does sound a little bit like
Yeah,
Brady Day, doesn't it?
kind
But
of Brand New
yeah, I do
Day
feel almost
2.0.
like this is, yeah. I think in a way it is. It doesn't sound just completely like a retread, but it certainly sounds like someone's taken the DNA of Brand New Day and shot it up to, yeah. I guess in a way, I guess you could say what it should have been from the start. And I say this as someone who I really enjoyed Brand New Day, but
Yeah,
this is definitely better in my opinion.
for me, one of the best tracks on the album.
Yeah. Talking of one of the best tracks on the album, Neon, we had that. I saw you in your stream when you were doing your first reaction to a song that I think we probably, again, I don't think we massively disagree, but I think we did have certain degree of disagreement on a certain song that you said sounded like my favorite song, Yava.
Hmm.
Um, you heard a certain song and you were like, oh, this really sounds like Yava, and I was like,
Yeah, no,
angry comments,
Do
angry
you mean
comments.
algorithm?
Oh,
um,
there we go,
yeah.
there we go.
It's the
And
only track that
the
could
fact that
fit that
Benedict picked up on
description.
that straight away just proves that I'm right.
Like I said, it's the only track that could fit that description. I
Yeah, I
would,
think it's
I
And
have,
still, yeah, you still picked up
it's
on
the
it.
closest, but I think yeah, no,
in my head, it
no.
sounded a bit like a combination of Megitsune, Arcadia, and maybe Syncopation.
Yeah, well, it was done by the same guy who actually wrote
Yeah,
Yava.
I
So
was told that.
no wonder
He's written a lot of songs in all fairness.
he
I
has
will
written a
give him
lot of songs in
that.
fairness.
Yeah.
But for me, that and White Flame were the two biggest wins for me. I mean, I'd pro again probably go it back. The only reason why I say that is as well is because, like I said, the beginning of this album, I've heard it so much, it kind of takes away that sheen a little bit. So you kind of gravitate
Yeah.
towards the new songs a little bit. So
But to
yeah,
be fair, it's a great energetic first part of the album.
yeah. I mean, Algorithm and White Flame were just like, yeah, I really vibed off those two songs. For me, like of the four songs I hadn't heard on the album, like to get them two, I was more than happy with that. I mean, there's definitely a debate is two enough, but yeah, I thought it was pretty. I thought it was.
I I mean, they were both like one of the things I really liked about White Flame and Algorithm, as different as they are, is that they're both like high-paced songs. You know, they
Yeah,
I don't think we got a huge amount of super high-paced music from what we heard in the. I guess Metal is quite a pacey song, but obviously that's one came out so bloody long ago. But I mean, the funny thing is that you know,
like
th
if the other
these
sorry,
two,
if
like
the
yeah,
other one didn't exist, like Algorithm and White Flame is how I envisioned Baby Metal would have gone after Metal Galaxy. Like that feels like the
Yeah, I can see that.
natural progression.
I got to say though that the one thing that I have to come back to, because I really enjoyed Algorithm because of the fact that I felt it kind of had more of a hard rock vibe than a metal vibe. It was kind of like this sort of like rocking along thing. It's kind of got that sort of straight hard rock feel that I kind of like. But
A bit of punkiness in there.
Yeah.
yeah, but I would say that for me, and a lot of people seem to really like that song, but for me, it's definitely the safe track on the album. And I don't, I mean that as in it feels almost like a reset in that it's like it's so lacking, no, not lacking, that sounds bad, but it's so not doing or really pushing any boundaries that it just feels like the safe song to kind of like reset your taste, you know, clear your palettes, give you a good melody, get your head banging, but not do anything tricky. Just get your head banging, do something straight with a good melody, and kind of reset your palette before the end of the album. That's kind of how it feels to me. It's
I mean, I would
it's
say I would
the
agree
safe
that
track.
it sounds the most like a typical baby metal track, whatever that means.
Well, a lot of
But
people
like kind
said
of, I
this,
would,
and
yeah.
that kind of concerned me a little bit in a way because for me, I guess there is a certain degree
But
of
why?
truth to that because the thing is that you know for me the whole thing that makes Babe Metal is their ability to balance and mix two things. You know, so to be a mixture of you know both metal and something else, whether it be pop, whether it be something more out there. Whereas this song didn't feel like it was. It just felt like a straight rock song, if I'm honest with you. It just felt like a straight rock song. And again, I mean that in a way that appeals to me. A lot of the time, that appeals to me. But for baby metal, this felt much more just like a single genre. Right? It didn't have for me the quintessential baby metal quality of always balancing two things. You
But
name any
like,
of the best baby metal songs, they're always balancing two things. This
yeah,
to me didn't feel like that. But
like
again, I
I'm
don't
what?
gonna
mean that in a bad
wholeheartedly
way. It's
disagree
just
with that
context to it.
that entire statement.
Well, I wouldn't
But
say
why? I mean,
they
what
actually com like fuse two things in every song. Like, what do they fuse in My Queen? It's also pretty much a straight dark metal song.
I do agree. Whereas the thing is with My Queen, again, that's one of those songs where I feel like I kind of have to say that it leans very much into a concept. So yes, it's not balancing so much, which is why I wouldn't say to me it sounds like a quintessential baby metal song. I wouldn't say, oh, this is quintessentially baby metal.
Yeah.
I would say it's really impressive how it leans into a theory. It's got like a sound that it goes for, which is really interesting. To go, oh, that's different. It takes me to a different
Yeah.
place. For me,
And it
algorithm
also
doesn't take
feels
me
like
to a different
something they
place.
haven't done before. I would say Algorithm
Yeah.
feels maybe, yeah. Have
I
they
mean,
really
So
the
done it
whole
before?
album
No, but it
sounded like
feels
that.
familiar.
I would agree, but the fact that it's one song on the whole album and everybody's
Yeah,
complaining sounds familiar. I'm
that's
kind of like looking at
Well,
that
well,
feel
well,
and
no,
then
no,
a
no, no
little
probably
bit
one's
like,
complaining. I mean,
what?
like I said, to me, this sound actually personally really appeals to me as someone who's more of a hard rock person than a metal person. And as I say, it is an interesting reset. So no one's complaining here. We're just making kind of the observation that when people say, "Oh, this is quintessentially a baby metal song," I find that interesting because I feel like it's probably the one song on the album that maybe in being safe, ironically, that makes it the opposite of what I go to baby metal for.
Again, I don't
but
agree. I
still
don't,
you
yeah,
really like the song.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's just it's not what I would normally go to Babe Metal for, but I do like it. It's just
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that's kind of
But
interesting to get that from Babe
I
Metal.
feel like that's an interesting theme here because, I also felt a little bit had that a little bit listening to the whole album because of all the collaborations, and I felt every song, especially if you get into the groups and actually know the groups they're collaborating with, you can really tell every song has the distinctive style of that group, obviously fused with baby metal, but still there's a lot of the original or like the feature artist's style in all of these songs. And
Mm.
you could also say, is that really what I come to baby metal for? Only half.
I guess I would agree. Yeah, I would agree that's true, but I would say that's kind of what you come to Metal Fourth for, because Metal Fourth that seems
Yes.
to be the thesis of the album. So that is a good point.
But
Okay,
I
that
was
is a fair
wondering,
point.
if I would actually find the album more cohesive if they would have just gone full collaborations.
I think it would have sounded. I mean, you know how how we said the album had seemed to have a through line. I wonder if it had been because you listen to a song like Ratata, and that really feels like okay, it does feel like a Baby Metal song, but it also really feels like an
Yeah.
Electric Callboy
I mean,
song.
all of these
I
collaborations are great. We are not
yeah,
like
yeah.
critiquing here.
But I do see a point there in that as most of the songs are walking that line between being baby metal and having the sound of the collaborator, if they all were more leaning into the collaborator, would it start to sound more and more disjointed? I think they've struck a good balance here. I think they struck a good balance.
Yeah. I would overall say this is a very strong album. Like, I have
Hmm.
no real gripes with it.
All right, guys. Well, let's talk about those two songs because I do want to bring up those. I do want to bring up those other two songs as well. White
Yeah.
Flame. So, okay, I'm just going to say White Flame. It was just a Babe Metal song written in part by Sue. I think in very large part by Sue. But
Like
what
lyrics.
band? What band did you all hear in your head when White Flame was
I
playing?
think also we all mentioned it in our reactions.
Go on, everyone.
Obviously, Love Bites.
Yeah, I
I
heard Love Bites.
I heard
Could
Dragon
be,
Force.
yeah, it could be
Dragon
Dragon
Force.
Force,
Okay.
like Galnerios, Hagane, whatever, all these power metal groups.
Is
But
power metal the genre we're going for? Is
yeah, in this
I
song,
don't
I
know the
think so.
proper. I sometimes get in trouble when I try to give
It's like
a genre to
progressive power metal, I would call it,
that.
if that is a thing. But yeah, that song really surprised me. Didn't expect such an energetic, fast-paced ending.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and also that ultra long instrumental section. I really feel that's a callback or like a little gift to all the old fans. Like, hey
yeah.
guys, we still have a band. They are still here, even though all of the other songs, like 7 of 10 songs, are from different bands. But
It's not any of the carry bands, but we swear there's musicians
I mean,
here.
the
We
Kami
got
band will still play these songs live. We already seen that.
but which carry band?
So,
I feel I can see Neon's mouth moving. I'm sure he's about to say something.
Eastern, right? I'd imagine.
Easton?
Eastern Kami band.
Oh,
No,
Oh,
sorry,
okay,
Western
yeah.
Kami band.
Depends on
Wherever
where
they
they
are.
play, I assume.
Mm.
I thought this was the song that Neon was most excited to talk about. I'll be honest with you,
Yeah, I
because
thought so
I'm
too.
it
I'm
sounds
still in
like
shock from the algorithm talk. I'm still shaking my head at that. Um, yeah, I thought it was good. I think the Love Bites comparison. A few people have said that, but I think the Love Bites comparison is just one of those like, oh, it's heavy metal. Oh, they're a Japanese. Oh, Love Bites are heavy metal. Oh, they're also Japanese. It must sound like
Well,
they sound to get like the
no, I
same
wouldn't
thing.
say that. For me, it was just like such a long instrumental section, mostly
Mm.
guitar focused. That's
Yeah,
something Love
yeah.
Bites does in almost every song.
Yeah, I suppose so. I would definitely put it more as like a again a sort of like a Western sounding band more than a than your stereotypical Love Bites. But yeah, I can see where the comparison. I can see
would you
the
say there's
draw and
something
the comparison for that one.
Would you say there's something maybe inherently, so if we're using the term power metal to describe that, I think was what we were kind of agreeing, that kind of Love Bites Hagane Dragon Force sound. Would you say it's more that there's something innately Western about that sound? So in other words, you could say like Love Bites are an innately a slightly Western sounding band
Oh
for a
yeah, yeah,
Japanese.
yeah,
I would
definitely.
say yes.
So okay, so I think it's probably more that just I when it comes to that style of metal, I listen to Love Bites and Japanese bands, and I don't listen to any of their Western counterparts. So it's more just I haven't got that frame of reference. So okay, so
Probably, yeah.
for me, I would say okay, yeah, I immediately hear Love Bites, but yeah, it's not just that it's metal because metal obviously carries a lot of things, but it is that you get what I mean. It's that sort of that power metal style of like, holy shit, why are the drums going so fast while the melody's going so beautifully? You're like, oh, this is power metal. Here we go.
Power metal for you. Woo.
We're gonna get a 1 minute guitar solo. Here it is. You know? So,
No, but
yeah.
I thought actually the song, yeah, had definitely the outro big finale vibes that you need for an outro
Yeah.
track. So I thought it fit really well as the ending track. And there was also that little, at one point the whole music breaks down and they start this chant. And I thought,
Yeah.
it's gonna be like the one we will have like this long outro chant, but then
That was
it's only
short.
really short, and then they
Hmm.
keep with the intensity. I thought that was a
Yeah.
really cool like
I wonder
twist.
if they'll drag that out when it's like a live.
Yeah, I can
They'll
I
imagine.
think
extend that.
so. Yeah, I think so. But it was so because I said before, like I thought like the legend on the other one, I thought that was a really good closing
Yeah,
track. I really
underrated
liked
track.
that as close. For me it was like the one but better, which I'm surprised how many people when I said that in the first instance actually kind of agreed. It was like, oh yeah, it's a bit better than the one. And so I really liked that as a closing track. But this it kind of felt like it was all the epicness of the legend, but it's like, oh, and by the way, at the end of the album, you're going to be trying to catch your breath, like
Yeah,
it's like this fucking breathless ending. That's such a good way to end the album, like
yeah, I
leaving you
really
sort of like
feel
breathless,
like it
wanting to
leaves
press
you,
play again.
What
yeah,
did you
leaves you
guys
at a
think of
certain high.
Kawaii as well?
I
We
knew it
haven't
was going
talked
to
about
happen
that song.
eventually. Let's
Well,
go.
who wants to go
Watashi
first?
ka wa e
Why? I mean, it is
watashi
really catchy. It's stuck in your head immediately.
dum
I've
dum
watched your
dum.
reaction, Neon, and I heard your point about that there could be, another level to the song, and it never really goes to that level. And I kind of agree with that, but I also think not every song has to crank it up to the max. And I think this is just meant to be like a fun little interlude thing. It has enough metal in it to, yeah,
Yeah.
stay in that consistent through line, but I thought that was a really fun track. Also kind of reminded me of like old black baby metal, like Onidari Daisuken
Mm.
and stuff like
Somebody
that.
mentioned on my live stream that
Hashtag
this
metal
is like a
Bay.
brain rot song, and I totally agree. That's exactly what this is.
Yeah, I can see it, like the TikTok
But
trend.
okay, I'll just quickly comment on that because I referenced this reminded me a lot of a song that one of the ultimate brain rot songs from I think it was from maybe from last year was the in Japan that Tima Tomodachi song. Tima Tomodachi, Tima Tomodachi. It's just reminding me of that, just going over and over again. Tima Tomodachi. Watashi ka. Well, yeah. So it definitely had the strong brain rot vibes for sure. I
Yeah.
I 100% think that this is going to be a TikTok song because you can imagine people doing the dance and "Watashi
Yeah.
kawaii," and then freeze framing on something that they regard as cute, or
Yeah.
you can just see that's going to be a TikTok trend or something like that. I think yeah, so it is a brain rot song in a cool way. I do think that in the album, it serves a really good purpose in that we come out of all these songs that are like, got these concepts and, these big collaborations and everything, this big sort of grand starting to the album. And then it's kind of like, again, it's a different type of reset. It's one where it's like, there's no big chorus, there's no this is just kind of like a song where you just kind of like, okay, you chill out, get a little bit of rhythm going, you're chanting along, and then you get to blast into the next song. I do agree that it definitely feels like it could go to another level, but for me, um, I think if it was going to go to another level, the way it would have to do that, sorry, the way it would have to go to another level. Not by necessarily changing anything musically. I think musically it's cool what it's doing. It's a bit different. It's got a little bit of a hip hop vibe. But I think if you're going to go to another level, they could have done a featurette with a rapper. I don't mean like a Little Uzi Vert. I mean like an actual good rapper.
Oh God, you
Yeah.
have to remind me. Jesus Christ, I
But
got rid of that
yeah,
nightmare.
I knew that someone would probably bring that up. But I mean like doing a collaboration with an actually genuinely good rapper. I mean, and Japan has got plenty of them. Again, can we just get Akko Gorilla on this? Or
Like, why do you
get
need
Eminem.
a
Get Eminem.
collaboration?
We need a
They can rap it
baby metal
themselves.
creepy nuts collab.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get Creepy Nuts. I mean, I think Creepy Nuts are like so freaking high profile that might be a bit difficult. But I mean, I would love it if Creepy Nuts were on this song. Would be amazing. I'm not 100. Yeah, actually could work. But I mean, this felt like one where I liked like the Sue, Moa, and Momoko, just kind of the vocals they were doing on this. But it did feel like there was space to just sort of like maybe put in a verse with a guest rapper and have them come in and like
Yeah.
because you can imagine because this was kind of like chugging along and just having someone like layer like a really interesting
Yeah,
kind
I
of
couldn't
rhythmic
really
rap
tell
just for
who
one
is
verse in the middle.
actually doing the rap
Yeah.
because there are multiple sections. At one point, I was pretty sure it's Sue, but I couldn't tell. Is it Sue all the way, or are there the other
This
members do the other parts?
this is why, and I'm bringing this back because it's important. This is why I would say this could be the new version of Black Babe Metal. Remember the new version of Black Babe Metal. Hashtag Metal Patty.
But there's
Make
Sue
it happen.
also in it.
Okay, but it
No, it
could
can't be
be
black baby
hashtag
metal
Metal
if Sue's in
Patty. Make it happen.
It's Black Baby Metal featuring Sue.
Hashtag Metal Patty. Make it happen.
it.
Yeah.
It just felt for
Um,
me this song because it comes in at like 2 minutes 30, and they tried to up the tempo. They tried to take it to the next level with the guitars towards the end,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, I'm liking where this is going, and then it just suddenly stops. It's like it's done, it's finished. And I'm like, I feel like there's more to this.
I feel like it
Yeah.
could either be a simple reset brain rot song, which is kind of cool. I actually respect that. I respect a good bit of brain rot if you don't keep it too long, which is exactly what this did. Again, Team Tomodachi vibes. That
Not
song
like the
is
1 hour
terrible.
video
This is
you
better
sent
than
me.
Team Tomodachi. But yeah, this sorry,
Yeah.
but this is definitely cool as a reset. But I do agree that it felt like there was potential for it to go further.
I think
And
what
get a
saved
rapper.
it a little bit for me were all these ad libs from Moa and Momo in the back, like funny
Yes.
and
Yeah.
weird funny
Yeah.
stuff.
And also my last gripe with this album, because both used attacked algorithm, um, Metali as
I
well.
He cannot
I
let it
did
go.
not attack
Uh,
algorithm.
is that doing on this? I do not know
Rhythm
what.
sucks. No, it
The
doesn't.
song doesn't suck. It's a really good song. It's
Yes, it
just
is.
like,
Sound clip, sound
yeah,
bite.
it's just like again, I feel like I posted the reactions to like all my songs, and like everyone has done like sort of all right, and then you got Metali and it's got like 80 views because nobody's
It,
fucking
Yeah.
interested.
Why
in
would you
all
be?
fairness though, yeah, it's because I did actually notice. I was looking because like Benedict, you did like a one video, like listen through the whole thing. But with Neon, I noticed with yours that basically all the ones that had already come out got less views, and I think that's just simply because people are feeling the same way we do, which is that
They're
right now
slowly
they don't.
climbing now, but yeah, Metali is
Yeah.
definitely the odd one that is definitely not performing
Everyone's
very well.
super that is everyone's super familiar with it. I
Yeah.
don't think it's because people don't like it, but yeah, people are obviously going to be much less excited by
I
a song that they really,
yeah.
really know.
My
Yes.
personal like I said, my personal gripe is like if I could, the only thing I would change in the album personally is I would change algorithm with Metali. I would switch them two around. So I would have Metali number
Mm,
8 algorithm and then go into White Flame. I feel like that would have been much better flowing because again, because I've heard Metali so many times, I just skip it. Like I
yeah.
personally, I just like I hear algorithm like
Even
yes,
when
and
you
then
listen to
Metali
it, you
comes on. I'm
kind
like
of
But I
skip
mentally skip it.
straight onto White Flame.
I
Like that's the
I
only gripe.
I do kind of agree, but again, I think it's because we're all in that transition phase we were talking about, where at the moment it's like we're kind of in that awkward phase where we kind of want to listen to the whole album, but we still, I mean, like I'm still not going back and listening to the first four tracks, and I really love From
I
Me to
did,
You.
I have
That
to
song has
say,
grown on
actually,
me more and
listening to the
more,
whole
and
thing kind of
Concon.
increased at least song 3 and Concon for me a lot.
Yeah, song free was an interesting one. By the way, we got 2 minutes left on the free
Yeah,
version of Zoom. I think we need to come back and just add a second
yeah,
section to
maybe
this.
we
Just if
can.
we got a couple of minutes, we'll do that quickly. But I will say that song free, I said to myself that would be a song where I would know how I'd feel after I heard it on the album. It definitely does ring better in context to the album, where it's kind of like it's ramped up to by like the full on energy of ratata ta 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 ta. I think that song
Ta-ta.
leads very well into song three.
Yeah.
Thank you for the extra tar there. Tar for the tar. I know you're Northern. I think Ratata absolutely leads into song three in a cool way because it kind of gives you that it's got that little bit of intensity in the bridge where he's like screaming and
Yeah.
everything, and then you go into song three and you're a little bit more prepped for the fact it's a very scream heavy song. Still, probably my least favorite song on the album, if I'm honest with you. But
Which one?
yeah, song three.
Yeah. Okay. Mm,
But,
not even
I would
sure.
say the album very much feels like it's split into like three different sections. I definitely feel like the beginning section you get all the metal songs out the way, or like the screams and stuff like that. Then you've got the middle section, which is like the more sort of like
There
experimental.
are there are growls sprinkled out. Momo's growls are sprinkled throughout the album.
Yeah,
yeah,
they
but I
are.
think
I'm
that
glad that they kept that
Yeah.
consistent a little bit without like over pushing it. So I'm glad like Momo screams weren't just a gimmick for one song and then that's it. Like you don't
Yeah.
hear it for the entire album. I'm glad you do
I
hear it
really like that.
called out. And it just feels like the last bit of the album, the last third is again like sort of like the new songs, with the exception of Metali, which again I think is really strangely placed. I do
For,
just
by the
like
way,
that.
for everyone watching at home, we're about to get a quick break in the video and we'll be right back because it's just the free version of Zootopia now. But you'll see nothing. We're going to be back any moment. And just like that, we're back. And so, yeah, let's pick up on the point then. So, I kind of agree with what you're saying about the fact the album is in several parts, but I wonder if that is again like us being slightly biased by the fact that we have that first part being the part of the album we already know, whether that's just kind of like making us draw a line in the album just in our heads, just because we're like, but those are the
That
tracks
might
we
be
already
true.
know. How did we feel though? I mean, because I said earlier about like the beginning of the album definitely being like where the singles are, the big impact, and we've all talked about how actually we think the album does flow quite well, I think. How do you feel in retrospect about that beginning? Because From Me to You, I think is an awesome opening track. Ratata, good follow up, but it mostly serves really well to lead you into song three. Not my favorite, but I do get why that appeals to a lot of people. And then Con, which I think is a bit of a sleeper, awesome track. You know, I love that a lot more than I think even Baby Metal do because it got one of their sort of the other one era live music videos where it's like, oh, I guess we'll make a music video, but we won't.
That's
um,
what got you. That what
yeah,
sold you on the song.
that's why I secretly bitterly hate the whole album.
Ugh.
What did you guys think of the way this album kicks off? That first half, really addressing the songs we already knew.
I love the way this album kicks off. I think it, it sets the tone immensely. It gets you pumped straight off the bat. It kind of gets rid of that like pent up energy that you kind of want to have in an album. Like it's straight off the bat. The first four songs are like, all right, come on, let's get the
Let's
headbanging
go.
out the way a little bit here. And then you kind of like you feel like you've done a few, you've wasted a bit of energy. Then you're all nice and properly motivated, properly in the zone by the time
You
Kawaii
mean
comes on.
wasted energy? That's energy well spent.
Yeah, exactly. Like it puts you in the mood. It's like the appetizer before the main course.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna use the word I was thinking of. Um, it's yeah, it's so the album like kicks off with a really cool vibe. And again, this is what I think it's one of those ones where yes, we can right now feel with a certain degree of okay, the opening part of the album's spoiled. But I think if you come back and listen to this in a year or two's time when that's not really an issue anymore and you just want to listen to an album, I think that's just such a cool way to kick it off that
Yeah.
you're gonna jump in from Me to You and then Ratata and you're gonna be like, yeah, do you know why don't I listen to this album more often? I think it's gonna be one of
Well,
those
I
ones you're gonna
wasn't
put on your
sure. I
playlist.
might have the same problem with like Neon has with Metally at the end, that I maybe wouldn't have put Ratatata as the second track because it's also one that we know for a pretty long time.
Mm.
But I mean, yeah, it still works, and I think you are correct in your assessment that it's not gonna matter like in a year or so when we are familiar with all of the tracks, which I think is the really big issue we are all having right now.
Yeah. So I guess that does, because a lot of what we're talking about is both what we like about the album, but also kind of fighting back against a lot of the preconceptions that we had, and I guess the worries that we predicted we would have. A lot of people worried about, is are the
Yeah.
collaborations going to be too much? Is the album going to feel disjointed with having so many songs from a couple of years ago, like for example on here? How would you maybe describe this album if you were describing it to someone who was coming into it with those worries? I mean, would you say like most of the worries we had ahead of the album are pretty much addressed by the way the
I
album comes
think the
Well,
together?
worries are justified. I think there'll always be
Hmm.
worries coming into this album. I think the thing that offsets those fears, sorry, Kat, is the fact that these collaborations they work. Thank you, sweetie. Um, like there's two type of collaborations: the ones that you like and the ones that you don't. I mean, look at Bandmate and The Warning. Look
I
at
love that.
Look
I
at
love
Baby
that.
Metal and Little Uzi Vert. Like those are some examples off the top of my head where I'm like, yeah, okay, like I that was a thing. Well done. But the good thing about this album is I don't come away from any of these collaborations feeling like it's not deserved. Like I feel like everyone has established their own reason for being on this album, even Metali, on here as well. So I don't come away from any of these songs thinking that was a bad collab. And I think that's why this album holds up so well. That the fact that yes, there was a lot of collabs. I would have liked way more songs in the vein of White Flame, Algorithm, for me personally. But at the end of the day, would I change this album? No, probably not. I'm very happy and content with what we got, to be
yeah,
honest.
I think the
yes,
collaborations have lent into us getting a lot of variation. And I also feel when you've got collaborators on there, they each want their song to be like the best song. And as a result, each song really feels like it's like like the person involved wants it to be like, oh, good song. Nothing feels like filler.
yeah,
And even the songs which kind of are taking on a bit of a filler role are still really impressive in their own right. You look at things like Kawaii does work as a brain rot song in a really cool way. It's a great reset. Algorithm is a lot of people's favorite song on the album. I think this is the thing is that, yeah, I don't think there's a single song that feels like it's just kind of, eh, it's
yeah,
there. They
yeah.
all feel like they genuinely had a purpose.
That's
And
why I
in,
also
in
said it's a really strong album, and definitely not my least favorite because I really like every track on the album, and that's not the case for every baby metal album that I really like every track so much.
No filler, yeah. I do think
Yeah,
most people would have to agree there's no filler in this. Okay, so here's another way of presenting this. Do you feel? I'm
I
going to
actually
word this.
wanted to answer your question, but
Oh, sorry. Go on. Sorry.
you
Sorry.
asked
Go
how
ahead.
I would describe this to someone else,
Sorry. Yeah.
this album. And I would say, don't approach, if you're a baby metal fan, maybe don't approach it as a standard album, but more an album where baby metal is trying to spread their influence into metal.
I'm glad you said that because I was actually going to sort of like try and move that by saying, do you consider this to be a Babe Metal album? Because of course, this was the
Yeah.
thing that we were saying is that
No, no, we all know
ironically,
that Baby
the
Metal
other
only got
one.
3 albums. Oh,
My brain. I'm just kidding. I ain't got one. But as we were all saying, the other one, like actually, this is why it was so galling hearing the way they sort of wrote off the other one. And by they, I don't mean Babe Metal. I mean obviously the team. But the fact that the other one really felt like a Babe Metal album. It was just Baby Metal. And it's kind of interesting how this one obviously has comparatively, therefore, proportionately less baby metal. So,
Album.
yeah. So the other one, I think most people would say really feels like it's going for the whole. Yeah, it's really a baby metal
10
album. Whereas this
tracks
one
like Metal
feels
Forth.
again
well,
much
you are
more. I
bending
well,
the rules of reality there, Benedict. That strangely looks like an album.
Yeah,
can I just
but
say, and
it's
here's
not.
the other
What
thing.
could it be?
I know I'm probably pushing the buttons even more here, but the other one for me, the one thing it didn't feel like was a concept album, and the one thing this one does feel like is a
It's a
concept
concept
I
album.
really
album.
agree with you there. It does feel more like a concept album than the other one.
Than the
Yes.
other one does. I agree with
Yeah.
that.
But that's also why I said maybe I would even love this album more. You know, I really love all the baby metal tracks, but if you would say there's something, maybe, you know, obviously this is very high. Yeah, I'm trying to find something here, but if there would be something that I would say is not really consistent throughout the album, it's that it's 7 collaborations and 3 pure baby metal tracks. And I feel like
Baby
that's,
metal traveled through
you
the
know, maybe
metalverse to find other bands.
minimally influences the through line, or however you want to say that. But
After being in Japan with Howard now, every time I hear the Fox God, I just think of train stations. The train will stop at platform 1.
It is true. Like every time you had platform one, we was like platform one, the one.
Baby metal.
You get like the Japanese announcements, and then on most of the lines, the English language announcement is in kind of like a really stereotypical American announcer voice, which is a lot like the Bay Metal Law one. So
well,
I never really noticed that, but like Neil was just standing there cracking up every time the English
it's
announcer
all
was like,
better than in Germany. In Germany, you have like some guy that sounds like this.
"Oh,
Then you're like,
pilot!
oh, nice. Now I know
Uh,
where my train is gonna leave.
you, you have an airplane pilot for your train."
Yeah, something like that.
That was exactly what it was like on my flight back to the UK every time they made an announcement. I'm like, so very fond. Yeah.
It's like, so what? Um,
Yeah, will be interesting. I mean, let us know all your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about this album? And even we might do another video in a couple of weeks or in a month, maybe doing a
I think
follow-up video. What do we think?
we've done a couple of videos over the last year or so. We've gone back to albums that we thought were really worth talking about again, and I feel like this is one of those albums where maybe even like giving it a year and coming back to it. Yeah, the other one as well. Actually, I mean, we should probably come back and do a talk about the other one because
Yeah, that would
that's
be
not an
interesting.
I'm
album
in.
I've listened to
After
that
hearing this
much.
album, I would love actually to go back to the other one now and kind
Do you
of
know what?
yeah.
Maybe that should be what we should do next. We should go back and revisit the other one, which
We
of course
can
is not a
revisit all
baby
the
metal
albums
album,
and then
apparently.
do a ranking.
Yeah.
Dun, dun,
Can we
dun.
address this just because it's called Metal Fourth? It technically is the fifth album. I don't give a
Hey,
Well,
crap
hey,
what
there's no
law
you. There's
reason
no
they
yeah,
try
there's
to
no
you.
you.
There's no you. There's no
yeah,
you.
I don't give a crap what law reason they try to give to sweep the other one under the rug. It's the fucking fifth
Well,
album.
it does get me because again, when we went into the other one, I know that whole talk was about it's like it's a concept album. I was like, oh, that sounds really interesting. And it came out, I was like, I like this, but it doesn't feel like a concept album. And the concept they described was it's like alternate reality
Yeah.
versions of baby metal, which it absolutely did not feel like. Whereas you listen to this one, and it really does feel like you could totally write a lore behind
Yes.
this of like baby metal travel through the metalverse, finding like
Yeah, and they
blood
find all
work and
these
all these
books in the
different
other realms.
dimensions.
The
This
incoming darkness.
if you took the other one lore and put it on this album, it totally would fit better. It
Yeah.
fits
I
so much
agree.
better on
I
this
agree.
album. It's like this actually fits the lore that they set up for the wrong album. It's like I just feel like if you take everything they said about the two albums and transpose it, makes perfect sense.
This just really feels like they couldn't come up with a name of the album and they were like, metal, we need something with metal in it. Metal, something this. And they just thought, Metal Fourth. But then we're like, no, we can't call it Metal Fourth because it's the fifth album. I know, let's just sweep the other one under the rug so it works. That's exactly what it feels
Uh,
like.
There is a video it's like metal fourth one. Yeah, call it
yeah,
that.
what's the
Okay, yeah,
next
we'll call
album
it
gonna
that.
be?
Yeah.
Just
But it's the fifth
metal.
album. The other one doesn't exist. It was in an alternate timeline, remember?
Uh, it'll be a Star Wars crossover called Metal Sith.
Metal Sith.
That was so bad. Even, I made a Star Wars pun. I'm not even that much into Star Wars, so
It
yeah,
actually wasn't too bad.
thank you. I appreciate it. I was like, what does the word fifth sound like in Japanese? Sith, something like that. Or cis, metal cis. Yeah, it could just be like, could it all be? I don't know, maybe they're sisters in
They
some
could
reality.
then do a whole album full of Star Wars themed songs. Sith, anger.
I mean, we've already had Fat Fader, so we're not too far away.
Mhm.
Fat Fader? What?
Ah, this is where we separate the real baby metal fans and the fake ones.
Maybe. I feel like maybe
Uh,
we to separate the people who've been taking too much drugs from
Yeah, yeah, that as well. So,
what have you been
um,
smoking? What is fat bait? What?
Fat Fader is when there was a couple of DVDs back when they kind of first started, and they had Darth Vader on stage with them, and but he was,
don't
shall
know
we
that
say, the
one.
outfit didn't quite.
It just
Yeah,
comes down here and you've got like a belly button hanging
he's got,
out.
yeah, he's like he was
It looked really like someone ordered a costume from Amazon or something.
yeah, it was someone, obviously, like the costume was like
Uh,
sizes too small for this certain individual, and thus he was dubbed Fat Vader.
are you thinking? Because I was about to say everyone in Japan basically is incredibly healthy. I can't imagine this. It would be harder to find someone who wouldn't fit in the outfit. So are you thinking that maybe they needed someone really tall? So they were like, okay, we've got to get ourselves a guy Gokujin here. Like, get some guy person. They got a foreign person. He's like, well, the only foreign people we can get have like really big bellies.
Although it was
Yeah, man.
definitely not a tall issue. It was definitely a
Wait,
win.
are we talking about a little rotund man dressed as Darth Vader?
So, yeah.
This
So yeah,
sounds
that was
brilliant. I
Invaded
gotta buy this
gnome.
DVD.
yeah. That was a phase for a bit that they did that, and then
Well, anyway, with that in mind, we definitely have a concept for the next album. We
I
got a
want to
concept for
do a
this
Fat
album, which was on
Fader
the
on this
last
now. We
album.
just That's how we're just gonna end this. Flash out with Fat Fader.
No, I actually
I'm
wanted
free.
to ask you
Hmm.
something about the future,
Okay.
because do you think they will play all of these songs live, or do you think they will stick with the
Oh,
songs that they played so
we
far?
talked about this before, didn't we? What do you think, Neon?
I think they'll play it live. There's no reason not to now.
Every
We've
song,
already
like all of the songs.
every song. We've already
Okay.
heard the backing tracks to like even going back to like Oh Imagine and all the other collabs that they've already done, like Papaya and stuff like that. Like this, I've already seen it in London and stuff, like where they're playing song three with, in the back with the backing tracks and stuff of the other bands. So yeah, there's no reason for
And
me to
man,
think that they
I mean,
wouldn't
I
play any of these
cannot
songs
wait for
live.
some White Flame live performances. That's gonna be like the old days.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
I mean, to me, there's only like so a lot of the songs are featurettes. Things like "From Me to You." It's always weird when you have a guest performance which is appearing on a screen. "From Me to You," I think you can pull it off. Con just about. I think
Hong Kong's a
with
great live song though.
yeah,
Like,
but I think it is going to be a difficult one. Again, like, I'm addressing though what Bendick was saying about like not having them as featurettes.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be hard to do that. I think it's going to be song three. I think you'd have to do an abridged version because I don't know how you're going to. There's a lot of that is the feature vocal.
Yeah, because he has
And
such a distinctive part.
yeah, it's such a big part of the song. I would
But
do an
they did the
abridged
same
version. I'd cut
with
that down. Yeah.
Bloodywood, where he has the rap section. It's a pretty long section, and they just
Yeah.
played it on the screen.
yeah,
I do think that in any one isolated instance, that's okay. But if you imagine listening to this entire, because face it, you always do the most recent songs on your tour. If you imagine hearing a tour where it's mostly these songs and like a lot of the time, like Babe Metal are dancing but not singing, I gotta be honest, I would feel a little bit weird about seeing that live. I did feel when I saw Foxfest, I enjoyed it, but those songs where there was like just long gaps where someone else was performing who wasn't even there was a little bit kind of strange.
Yeah,
And so, I don't know how I'd feel about that, but yeah, I agree. Stuff
but I
like
don't
seeing
think
White
they would.
Flame live or
Yeah,
Algorithm live would be amazing.
yeah,
I
obviously,
mean,
totally.
one, sorry, go on a minute.
Yeah, just wanted to say I don't think they will ever play a show where they would play the exact track list of this album. They would
Uh,
also always throw in
I'd be
different songs.
intrigued.
You would never have like all of the collabs in
Yeah,
one show.
but I'd be intrigued about how they pick because obviously for like the next year or so, they're going to basically be touring to promote this album. I would assume. Any gigs you do, you're going to be wanting
I
to
thought
sell the most
like
recent thing you made.
the upcoming show was actually the promotion for this album
yeah.
But it's not
that
going to be just
that they
one
did.
show, surely. I'd imagine that all their forthcoming shows, they're going to be trying to push people to buy this album.
The good thing now is that Baby Metal has like got such a backlog and so diverse that they could set up now technically for a festival show compared to like a normal show, and the sets can be completely freaking different depending on like who they're with and if the other bands are there and stuff like
That
that. So you
Mm.
that's
could
a really good point.
like
Hmm.
the good thing now is you could go to a baby metal show
Will
and
they really do it?
yeah, and not know exactly what they're gonna
Poppy
play.
wasn't even on
So
stage, even though she played the same show.
yeah,
Yeah, that's so weird. That's so weird because I remember from me
Mm.
Ratata when Electric Callboy came on stage with Pavement, I was like, yeah, there we go. Yeah, you can't have me,
exactly.
I'll do it.
It makes those songs a little bit more special if you see them, I think, at a festival or something like that. Or, if you're just on a random show in like, I don't know, fucking Sheffield or something, some done,
But it is weird that
dingy
Poppy
part of
wasn't
the
on that
world and then they
stage though.
pop up on stage. Like,
He
But
just
as
had
as
the
as
ultimate
Neon
idea.
But as Benedict pointed out, there was that thing with like Poppy not appearing on stage for From Me to You, and you're like, ah, okay. And I know they gave the whole reason and everything, but it was like, ah, okay, that was unexpected. So I really hope that they do lean into that because I think that would be awesome if they did that. Like you say, just turn up to a festival, go right. Who else is nearby? Let's bring you. We'll do those songs. You come in. That would be freaking awesome. But I do worry that they're not going to do that. I
Let
worry that
me
they
bring
wouldn't lean
you
into.
the solution. We will
Oh.
have, we already have Foxfest, I know, but we will have an actual baby metal festival
oh yeah,
where you have a lot of groups, and all of these groups are the groups baby metal is collaborating with.
yeah.
Isn't that
It
So
what
they
does
can
feel
Foxfest
like
then
that,
all
doesn't it?
basically
play
Yeah.
together.
was?
That's a good way of promoting it. Do all
Well,
the collabs with all
not for
these
me.
artists, then invite all these artists to a festival, have an awesome festival, and then just have baby metal as the
I think
last
Yeah, but all
act
the artists will
with
have
that's
their
all
what
the
individual
Foxfest
artists.
shows.
was. Yeah, that's what basically what Foxfest was.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, the
it
whole reason
wasn't really collaborating artists, was it?
You had Polyphia, so they could do Brand New Day. You had Electric Callboy, so they could do
Oh,
Ratatatata. That's exactly what it felt to me like they were trying to do.
So
I mean, obviously,
okay.
Next Fox Fest could be even better now because now you're gonna get
yeah,
All
hopefully
of them.
exactly. Yeah,
Veil,
I feel like they can
Poppy.
get better and better as they go.
Lil
But
Uzi.
No,
no,
Sorry.
I swear to God, if I ever have to see that song live, I might just like fucking kill myself on stage and just be like,
it breaks my heart because there's actually really talented people were involved in that song, but I get the feeling that I get
Actually,
the feeling
actually
that
don't think
it
it's
was
that bad.
yeah, no, I
It's
to
not
me it's
their
just
best
like
track for sure, but
I think my main issue with that is just like Lil Uzi's like when you actually find out about what stuff he really does in real life, you're like,
oh yeah, that as
wow.
well. That's why
And
I
then you're
found it a
like,
bit weird that
oh,
Baby Metal was
and then
associated.
that auto
I
tune.
was kind of
well,
like,
but they could make that argument about Alex Terrible as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've heard that argument made as well. I don't know as much about him, but yeah, so I mean, it's kind of like there's a certain degree of that
I mean,
with
he's
that
Russian.
song I
He's just
can't
blonde.
deny, but I don't know
That's not
I don't know
the
the
issue.
facts. I don't know the facts. I just kind of like, oof. Yeah, I heard some stuff.
Yeah.
But basically, like, yeah, there were some really cool people involved in that song. It's just a shame. It kind of like it has its moments, but it doesn't really click. I
Yeah.
didn't hate it as much as Neon did, but yeah, it's definitely a bit of a what are we doing here kind of moment. It's like, is
Standard
Babe
song.
Metal really even doing anything on this song? Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
so that was a weird one.
At least
Um,
that's not a official baby metal track. That's just on Little
yeah,
Uzi's album,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Although I
I
gotta be
wake up
honest, like
sometimes, some nights in a sweat, and I think, oh, little Uzi to the Baby Metal.
says little Uzi
They
Vert three
dreamt they did
times in the
another
mirror.
collaboration.
Yeah, like fucking. I'm like,
It does.
I have to check, make sure it actually happened. I'm like, no.
Mm.
I mean, talking of those songs though, where Babe Metal wasn't the lead artist, it does just kind of remind me that probably one of my favorite songs with Babe Metal credited on it of recent years is "Leave It All Behind," which of course I know that wouldn't really fit in on this album, but I love that song.
It's a yeah.
I would be secretly happy to if that had appeared here as
I think
like
it's
some
also
kind of
kind
bonus
of
track. But
underrated, but might
it's an
also
awesome song.
yeah, it's an awesome song, and I think probably their most, how do you say, their most ambitious, that's the word I'm looking for, their most ambitious collaboration because it's three artists, and I think it's done really well.
Yeah, just the
I would
collaboration aspects are
really like to
amazing.
prefer that song to again to metal. Not that
Yeah,
I'm shitting on metal.
would be
Would prefer
would
to
have been an
have that
option.
in the number nine spot than
But I'm not so sure how well it would fit sound-wise
Yeah.
because because it's a quite a bit of a more
yeah,
mellow
it is.
song, not that heavy.
I think it's more just that. tonally, I don't know if it's not that heavy. I think it's
Yeah,
just
I mean, I think
more
I
tone. Yeah,
mean tonally. Yeah.
I think we're talking about the same
Yes.
thing. Sorry, I maybe just rewording the same thing. It's just like the
Just
sound.
bad at English.
Yeah, I'm still impressed. You're the only person on this like channel who's like English is not your first language, and yet often you make like the best points. So but it's like with the it's like me and Neon, but the
English is
production
hard.
on Leave It All Behind is it would have to kind of get a little bit of a remix to fit into the sort of very heavy full production sound that most of this album
Yeah.
has. But yeah, Leave It All Behind. I feel it's a shame that it got left behind,
It
ironically.
got left behind, yeah.
Leave the song behind.
Yeah, I do often wonder, like with how long Ratatata and Metali has been out. Yeah, like now it's one of
20
those cases
years,
where I'm like,
30
those two
years.
songs have been out so long, and
Like,
I wondered
Were
why they were on
you
the
on them?
album, but now they're both of them are in it. Now I am looking at Leave It All Behind, and I'm like, well, why the fuck's that not?
but is
No,
that
but that,
on
yeah.
some Body Slam or F Hero album, or is
I
it
will actually
just a
check.
single floating
If I'm
around?
correct, I imagine it'd probably be on a F Hero album.
Okay.
So, because
Um,
if I believe rightly, it was
it
published for
was,
him.
yeah, it was a pound. Interesting enough, is like it says Metali was released in 2024, but I feel certain.
No.
I think the video came out in 2023
It's
actually,
pretty
because
much almost exactly 2 years, like
I
apart, 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the actual music video came out in 2023 because I remember when I did my end
Yes.
of year awards for
Yeah.
2023, it was on that. It wasn't on last year's one,
Yeah.
it was on the year before.
I did check
So
while doing my reaction. It
So yeah,
was
yeah, because this one,
almost
like
2 years.
Papaya, was like a Baby Metal featuring F Hero, so I think Leave It All Behind was more like an F Hero getting Baby Metal on board as well with Body Slam.
Yeah. I mean,
Which,
might be interesting to see if maybe Baby Metal will appear on some of the other albums or some new projects of the other groups, because we had, for example, Bloodywood. We had Backhouse, which was the Bloodywood song, and now we had Con, which is the Baby Metal song. So maybe we will have the second
I don't think
side
that's
from the
out,
other
out
groups
of
as
the
well.
realms of possibility. I've made a case before that I actually prefer that as a collab instead of getting one song, which can sometimes be like a really good hit or a really good miss. I do like the collabs where we get two songs, kind of like
Yeah.
the Anna Lilis
yeah,
situation where you get one song that's obviously one artist and the other song obviously the other, with them both featured in it. And I like
Yeah, I
that.
think that would also silence some
just
criticism if you lean too much to one side, because you will have the other song that leans to the other side.
quick side note, by the way, I did just check Leave It All Out Behind was apparently a standalone single. Didn't actually appear on any
Oh,
album
Oh, right, there you go.
according to the dangers of artificial intelligence,
interesting.
which did tell us some wrong things before recently. So take that with a pinch of salt. But apparently it doesn't appear on any album, which I
Leave
imagine
that
AO will be
song
able to find
behind.
out.
Yeah, that song
Everyone
has
left
been
it.
left behind, hasn't it?
Yeah.
No. Ah! Um, but
Shame.
yeah, I kind of agree with that idea again, like with the Beckoff thing, and then having Con. For me, like Beckoff, I think is in a lot of ways is more of it feels
Bake
like this big
Off.
crafted song, but like Con, I think is like works better as a collab. And I kind of I really like that. I really like that. I feel like everyone gets their moment there much more,
Yeah.
obviously. It's a
Yeah, I
good
mean the
song.
counter argument to that is like sometimes you'll get like one song and a collab, and even just like a one song collab can be pretty perfect as well. So there's always like ifs and buts to either way of doing things. But
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think it also
I
depends
much
on what
prefer
kind
to
of
get two
collaboration it
songs
is.
than one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like if it's a collaboration where the two artists basically there's only one angle in which they can approach it, then you're like, okay, fair enough. But if it's one where there's like a couple of different ways it could like play to both of their styles, then
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. But ultimately, that's the interesting thing because again, coming into Metal Fourth, I did not really know anything about most of collaborating artists. Like Poppy, I knew she was a big deal, but I had to like sit down and like listen to some of her stuff. I know she'd gone from being pop to metal, so I had to like listen to her stuff to get an idea. I was not a big fan of what I heard, but then I thought her appearance
Just
in
wanted to
from
ask, how did you like?
yeah, her appearance in From Me to You, I think really worked. I think it worked in the context of that song really well. Slaughter to Prevail, I don't think that's ever going to win me over.
Yeah, same.
Electric Cool Boy, I think we're really good, but I think they're really good at kind of like one thing. Like I remember I heard Ratatata, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then like when I saw them live at Foxfest, I was like, this is cool, but why is every song pretty much the same? It's like, what of your songs are.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It is true. I mean, you can't blame a band who know what
If you
they
want to have
like
a
to do and
party, you
stick
want to
to
have
it.
a
You want to have
party.
a party?
But
You
yeah,
know what band to go to.
Yeah.
hey, the songs might not have changed, but the outfits sure did. So
Exactly.
you gotta
Yes.
respect that. You gotta respect that. It was a very
They've got the
theme-based
moves.
song.
They've got the moves.
But that was cool. And then like the Tom Morello one, again, I really like Metal and I think the way his guitar was worked into it was really cool. Again, we talked about the one with Polyphia. I think that was Brand New Day, but just done better, and I already like Brand New Day. Um, yeah, I think Con, like I say, that was great. I think the collaborations as a general were really actually pretty strong. If you think about them
Yeah.
one at a time, they're
Yeah.
pretty damn good, you know? For a bunch of artists I don't know who I probably am, I gotta be honest, like listen to most of them, I'm probably not going to become fans of them in their own right.
I
Yeah,
did with
they're cool.
almost all of them.
Yeah, I think there was definitely there's an aspect where I listen to a lot of these artists and maybe their sound is kind of part of I don't want to say this in a cruel way, but like when I think about why I don't listen to Western music so much anymore, when I tried to listen to a lot of these groups in isolation, I was like, okay, you still kind of sound in that area of what doesn't kind of work for me so much about Western music. But
Yeah.
it's not to say it wasn't good stuff. It just
Hey,
didn't really sort of make me go, oh wow. It was more like, okay, yeah, okay, I
you
get
can
it.
listen to whatever you want.
You damn right. You damn right. And you should listen
You're
to Metal
goddamn right.
Forth. You're
So listen to the other
goddamn
one.
right. Yeah. Fucking hell. It's like he's still trying to push that album.
Uh, until they
Oh,
release a
no.
better one, which so far they
Would you
haven't.
still say the other one then is your overwhelming favorite?
I think he's made that pretty clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty clear. Yeah.
What would your favorite
It's,
be then, Howard? Now.
um, I gotta be honest. I think it's kind of hard for me still to find something better than Metal Resistance, which is kind of a shame because I feel like that's the stock answer most people would go for. Um, I feel it
I
is
think a
an
lot of people
album.
love the first one.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
do like the first one as well, but the first one in a way, I think I respect more than anything else how that embodies something so quintessentially cool um about what baby metal is as a juxtaposition of two things. I think that Metal Resistance was still in that point where it still was 100% a Babe metal album. And to be honest, considering that after that we got Metal Galaxy, which lent more into the collaborations, obviously the latest album's very much collaborations. And the other one, the fact that it's a two-piece and Moa, I don't think really gets her flowers enough on that. You know, it's basically more of a Sue album. For me, it's
Unfortunately,
almost
not
like
really.
there's only two albums that really do the core principal idea of what baby metal to me in my head is. I'm not saying that there's a lot of baby metal that I love subsequently, but they feel like baby metal albums in that core concept and kind of what I was hoping for Metal Fourth again. And I wanted that three-piece thing back, which we do
Yes.
get in some of the songs.
Yes.
We do get it happening. Ironically, From Me to You does it quite a lot, although obviously it's a featurette. But for
Still,
me,
you could say Moa does the least on Metal Fourth.
yeah, no, that's true. Exactly.
Moa
Again, I
looks
do
pretty.
agree.
That's all she needs to
But
do.
that's why I'm hoping that I know we're going to probably have to wait another couple of years, but I'm hoping that the next album we get will be one where it will just, and I worry this might not be the case, where the ground is cleared and we can just hear all three of them. They become a true three piece. And now, as
Here,
grown women, they're
here's a
all, I mean,
question.
Momoko's getting a lot of room to do stuff. I'm hoping Moa gets more room to do stuff now that it's a free piece again.
Here's a
I
Yeah,
think
question.
they need to be equal, but
Yeah.
I feel like they need
the
Well,
to be
here's a question to
ratio
both
closer.
of you
could
then.
be.
If both of you've got this opinion, do you think this album is spoilt then by the collaborations and because we get less of the three piece sort of like trifecta? I know Howard loves that word. Um,
I wouldn't.
um, like that we hoped we would get after the other one. Is
I
it
wouldn't
not
say
maybe?
so. I'm actually sorry. Finish your
So would
point.
you consider it like maybe like a little bit of a disappointment or not the direction you would have preferred they go? Like what's your overall feeling towards that now? Because I know you just said, oh yeah, but we'll get the next album maybe hopefully next year. But this is kind of what this one was supposed to be, as everybody kind of hoped it would be until like the collabs list kind of came out and everybody was kind of going, wow, there's a lot of collabs here.
Well, to your second point, I can actually imagine the next album to come a little bit faster because I feel like this is like the phase where they come back together and
Mm.
then now then for the next one they will have found the three, the trifecta again, however.
Not how I would use that word, but okay.
I'm gonna keep using it because I know how much you love it.
You're going to use it till you get it right.
Okay. No, but I wouldn't say I'm not at all disappointed by what we get from the three ladies. I think, the collaborations are done well enough that we get enough from everybody. And I think that also makes it really diverse. There's a lot of vocal diversity also due to all the collabs, but still also from the girls. You have sometimes Sue is more on the focus, like on My Queen. Sometimes you have like Momo doing growls. Sometimes they do like nice backing harmonies. I feel like there's a good variety. I'm not disappointed.
I think to me the only way to answer this question is to separate, and I think we're doing it maybe without knowing, separating the expectation from the retrospective view. So I mean, like Benedict very correctly said that we're kind of like we're thinking the next album, oh, it's going to be one that they all come together. But then again, that's exactly what we were saying about the other one. We were like, oh, I bet this is one where they're going to reveal the third member and she's going to be on it, and this album will come out. And the fact that they announced Momoko about the time that the album was out, it was
But they
really
need a bit of
jarring how they
time,
were like,
Howard. Give them
yeah,
some
but
time to
my point
find
is
themselves.
that was the hype. That was the hype. Everyone was like, oh, they went away on hiatus so they could come back as a free piece. So that was the initial hype. Maybe
Sometimes
they've been hiding
things
this for
don't
long.
work out.
But my point is that everyone has been like hyping each time. It was like, oh, the next one will be that. 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 And so, I do actually feel the next album will be that. But there's a part of me which is like, yeah, but
So you're one of us.
yeah, no, I agree, but I'm also very cautious in saying that. So, there was a part of me that obviously, if I had the choice, I would be more excited about just hearing a free piece Babe Metal back. And if I had the choice without knowing anything in advance of going into either this or going into just hearing a free piece Babe Metal back, I can't help but say I would have lent towards that. But now in retrospect, looking back at this album, which is where we are, am I disappointed? No. It's an interesting album. It's got a mixture of different things. I do think it does. Again, as I said, Baby Metal is all about experimentation. In my heart, that's what I come to Baby Metal for. It's like mixing things together. And I feel that these collaborations have given them the opportunity to mix things like different tones and feelings, like on My Queen, different styles of music, like with things like Con, and even Song Free to a certain degree, going heavier than they normally would. I
Yeah.
feel like this album has done something interesting, worthwhile, that we can come back to, that we can be happy about, that we can say that is a really cool addition to the Baby Metal canon, to the Baby Metal discography of songs. It still leaves me with that hole that I mentioned, like Metal Resistance is the last album that feels like that's kind of like what the original exciting breakout concept of Baby Metal was. I still feel like we need to kind of reunite with that, especially now we have a three-piece lineup, and I do hope
Yeah.
that's kind of got to be what comes next. But am I disappointed about this album? No.
Yeah.
Has it made good on what it could have been? Yes. And I think as a collaboration album, as it primarily is, it's a winner. I think it's cool, and I think we're going to look back on it very fondly
Yeah.
in future years.
I pretty much agree. But if there's one thing I would wish for the next album, then it would actually be not that important that they have the trifecta thing, but that we actually have a full
Good lad.
album of baby metal tracks.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think
one
we
or
can
two
all agree on
collabs
that.
is fine, but still.
I think we all want the next album to be a full Baby Metal album, all three
Yes.
members. Yeah, okay, Sue's going to be front and center, but I want to hear it sounding
Nothing wrong
like
about
Baby.
this. This is nice. I like it,
But
but
I want
still.
to, I want to hear Moa. I want to hear your beloved Moa, Benedict. I want to hear Momo. She's been given a chance to spread her wings a little bit. Let's do more with that. I want to
Less
hear
than
them
one
sounding
minute,
like
by
a
the way.
freeze. Yeah, no, don't worry. I'm counting the seconds. I'm
Okay.
counting seconds. Any final thoughts, Neon?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I enjoyed it. I think overall it's a great album. It's definitely up there for me. Again, Metal Resistance is probably still my quintessential favorite album. But I reckon this comes pretty close. I would say it's probably my second or third favorite album. I'm not too sure whereabouts it lies just yet. I need a few more listens and a bit of time.
Potential
But,
ranking upcoming.
yeah, but
Well,
yeah, I
15
really like
seconds
it.
upcoming as well. So
Not in this
everyone
one.
get in the comments. Tell us what you think. And remember to keep your ears to the ears. No, it's that way.
Keep your ears